Hello there, welcome back to another podcast. Nazarene Prod and Solitary Road and Talk.
Morning, everybody.
Or afternoon, or night, or
Yes.
middle of the night if you're watching this when you can't sleep and you're almost insane.
You need something to put you to sleep.
Yep.
Then you've come to the right place.
Yep. So this is the start of our talk about Bergman box set, the massive box set, the Criterion opus that we've both had for about a year now, and we're both like, I can't get started in this.
Yes, so we needed a good excuse to actually start watching them.
Yeah, so we worked out a way of doing it by actually doing these podcasts to kind of motivate us to start. A friend of mine just bought it, the Bergman set, and he's ready to go straight away. Just thinking, you bugger.
Yes.
I feel very envious of that. The ones who just got it and go, yeah, we're going to start watching them. It's like, I get very kind of stuck because there's so much to choose from. I couldn't choose.
Yeah, I mean, it's comforting to know it's there, though.
Yes. But
You've got all that amazing stuff sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah, it's intimidating, no. But then again, I doubt the Decalogue for a long time before I actually started watching them. And we've also got the Human Condition we haven't got anywhere near yet.
Yeah. I mean, because let's be honest, Bergman's one of those directors that has a reputation of being a bit intimidating, and certainly I don't understand everything in all of his films, because he was one clever man.
Yeah, but then again, I did Bresson last year and out one, so Bergman's actually kind of easy compared to those two.
Yeah.
Bergman actually has entertainment value sometimes. He doesn't have people been very vague.
Yes.
It's much more humanist than some of the Bresson films. So
yeah, Bresson's down to the cellular level.
Yeah, so compared to that, I'm doing pretty good. We should say we're going to cover two films. What we're going to do is I chose two, then Ronan will choose two for the next show we do in Bergman, and we're just going to go back and forward that way so that it's not a one person's taste dominating, so it'll make it more interesting.
Yes.
We were going to start with Scenes from a Marriage, but that get KO'd pretty quick. We realised we don't want to watch.
Yes.
We don't want to watch that early on. It seems a bit too depressing.
Yeah, I think as an introduction for people who haven't watched any Bergman, that might be a bit much.
Yeah, it's a bit ambitious.
Yeah, it's a bit much for me, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll get to Scenes from a Marriage. It's and Fanny Alexander, the two epics that we'll get to eventually. What were we up to? But we're doing Smells of a Summer Night and The Wild Strawberries, and we're also going to do a fun little extra, but we'll get to that later.
Yes.
So which one do you want to start with?
Well, we start with Smiles of a Summer Night.
Okay.
Because that's the easier one, I was going to say, but
yeah, it's.
That's the first one chronologically. It was made in 1955. Wild Strawberries is 57.
Right. And I watched that one first. Of the two, I watched that one, then Wild Strawberries, so it feels like it's first for me as well.
Yeah.
So who wants to talk? Who wants to describe what it's about?
Well, it's described as kind of Bergman's comedy, even though comedy in Bergman is different from comedy for other directors. So there's still, suicide, there's still questioning God, there's still like the tensest Russian roulette scenes and apart from the Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
So it's comedy for Bergman, but it's still it's still Bergman.
Yeah, I know, it's still a bit there's still a mood of depression hanging over it, and a mood of life's going wrong and what's the point of it all, and
so the basic premise is this lawyer, played by Bergman stalwart Gunnar Bjornstam,
and a weird beard.
Yes, I was going to mention the beard and hair combo for him in this film is wonderful, and he has married. I think he married her when she was 16. You can see where Woody Allen gets his ideas.
I know, it's a bad influence.
So a very young wife, which they still haven't consummated the marriage, and he lives with his son who wants to be a minister. So that gives Bergman a good chance to talk about God again.
Yeah, and his son's in early 20s.
Yes.
From an earlier marriage.
And he hears about a theatre group in town, and one of the actresses is an old flame. So he goes to see her.
Yeah.
And hilarity ensues.
Yep. Yeah.
For Bergman.
Yeah, it's a comedy version for Bergman, or comedy version of Floating Weeds.
Yes.
I can bring a newsie for this one.
It's as close as Bergman gets to farce, almost. It doesn't go to farce, but the subject could be a farce if handled differently by a different director.
If Richard Lester's directed it, would be a farce. But
yes.
He, with depression, probably would Lester as well, but not as depressing as Bergman will put it.
No.
Yeah. But I want to say straight away, it's a really enjoyable film. It's not like uber depressing. It's just the feeling whiff of that. I think we're overselling the depression part of it because it's funnier. But
yeah, if you're expecting a knockabout comedy, it's not quite that.
Yeah, I mean, expect a drama that's funny. That's really what it is.
Yes.
But
it's Bergman showing a different side that perhaps he wouldn't visit that often throughout his career, but it's actually quite refreshing.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, it seems very influenced by Shakespeare, some of the Shakespeare comedies, which have the same thing where, like Much Ado About Nothing, where there's humour, but there's also some darkness below the surface of people uncoupling and going to other people and finding the true love or the person that they should be with rather than the person they are with. There's those elements of Shakespearean comedy in there.
Yeah.
And there's also the way it's set up. There's an element of like Howard Hawks, really, of people sitting and talking and.
I mean, the dialogue is just so sharp, and there's wonderful kind of barbs. So it is almost like a Preston Sturges script. It's really well written.
It's the way it's framed as well, because it's like Bergman's watched those films and seen, like, when you're doing these scenes, just leave the camera in a few positions and let the actors run with it, let them control the tempo. So he's learned from the good, like, screwball directors to actually just let the actors have control in these scenes and let them run with the characterization, and he does it really well because he knows when to just pull back and not be stylized. And leave it to them.
I mean, again, it is a typical Bergman film in the sense there's not a huge cast. He's very economical, but his compositions are, again, I think he's underrated as far as the shot compositions. But again, it's stunning black and white cinematography, and it's really well shot.
The compositions are well done, but they're not show-offy. He's not trying to. I would say his compositions in Well, Strawberries, I think, are better than this one. Are more clearer. I think he's more comfortable in that story, though. In this one, he's trying something new, and it really works because he knows just to pull back and let the story unfold.
Because this was probably his first kind of success outside of theatre, because his early films hadn't done well, and people were questioning whether he could actually be a director or not. And I think this was his first kind of success out with the theatre, which he had a lot of success in. Yeah,
I think in this one you actually see him influenced by like other sorts of cinema before he kind of found what he really wanted to do. Because again, we've mentioned like the screwball comedy. He seems to have taken stuff from that and to see this is how it works so well. So he actually has taken stuff from classical American cinema and put it into his own. He's taken stuff from like Shakespeare and put it into his own, but it's also his own as well. There's lots of stuff there that's very him, like the idea of the lead character not quite sure what he wants and not sure who he really is very Bergman.
Yeah.
So within all the concepts and that he's taken from, it's still very Bergman because the central character is one of his characters.
Yeah. So you've always got that questioning his place in the universe and questioning pretty much everything, as is the Bergman staple.
Yeah, but it's also a funny film and it suggests that the lead character maybe not know himself as well as he thinks he does, and he's not as secure as he thinks he is.
Yeah, which again is a common theme, certainly in the second film we're going to talk about as well.
Yeah, but it's also a common theme in screwball comedies.
Yeah,
because people, if you look at the Sturges stuff, like what's the one with Henry Fonda and Stanwyck, Lady Eve, or
yeah, yeah, something like that.
yeah, that's a kind of same kind of story, but this is a Bergman thing where it's a bit more depressed.
Yes.
But they're kind of older characters who have lived their lives and who have made mistakes. And he likes to think himself as much more cosmopolitan and much more cynical about life than he probably really is.
Yes.
He wants projected as a master of life when he's not.
Yeah, his conversations with his son about the difference between lust and life, and he kind of purports to be the expert in love, which he's obviously not.
No. Like, he doesn't have a clue, really.
No.
I mean, his son probably has more of a clue than the father does, even though his son admits to not having a clue, which is actually an advancement on his father.
Yeah, because it's all about the person you portray to other people. It's obviously never matches quite up to the person that you actually are.
Yeah. Like, he's hiding a lot of himself. He's hiding the fact that he's just this boring lawyer in a small town. That's all he really is. He's trying to project himself to be something more interesting, and it's kind of telling that his wife is very young and who's so young she's not that experienced. So he's just married her because she's a lot of energy, youthful energy.
Yeah,
just to reinvigorate himself rather than anything else. Like, he doesn't understand her.
Yeah, I mean, there's great kind of relationships in the film between different characters and how they kind of change. There's the Count and the Countess. The Count is one of the actress's lovers who crosses swords in more ways than one, with Gunnar Bornstrom's character. And then you have the actress and her mother, who lives in this massive mansion and is bedridden, and just beautifully written relationships.
Yeah, it's everyone is a bit. I mean, the actress comes from the theatre, and a lot of people she knows are larger than life, larger than you get in Bergman later on.
Yeah.
But they are fun, they are kind of twisted and weird, and you see the seeds of where he's going to go with them. He's going to tone it down a lot more as he goes on. But here it's more as the broader.
It's a bit broader and is more theatrical. You know, if you'd heard that it was based on a stage play, you could kind of believe that.
Yeah.
Just the way it's written.
Yeah, and the actress is the person really in control of everything. She's the person who's got the agenda. She knows what she wants, and she has to manipulate people around to get what she wants. But but not in a nasty way. It's just in a way that she's more realistic about things than most other characters are.
Yeah, and we have the age-old cinema trope of telling one of the characters her plan, but then of course it fades, so we don't hear all of it.
Yes, and it's probably the plan she had told the other person's she wasn't probably telling the exact truth either.
Yes,
because she's a character who keeps stuff to herself. She won't reveal everything.
Yes.
So it's also quite fun is that the Countess, her motivations, she seems so cynical to start with, but her motivations are a lot less cynical than you think they are.
Yeah, she's an interesting character as well.
Yeah, and the actress is less cynical than you think she is, and everyone's less cynical than you think they actually are. Ultimately, maybe apart from the Count, who's just a scumbag. But fun.
He's a very colourful character.
Yeah, he's clueless, but he's up to his own thing, and that's it. And he doesn't care about anyone else, and he's out for pleasure.
Yeah, because I mean, initially you kind of think these characters aren't that likable, or they're all kind of pompous and obviously have a high opinion of themselves. But you do actually grow to like them as the film progresses.
Yeah, because you start to see the human side, and you start to see where the flaws are and where the blind spots are, and I'm not sure you ever get to like the Count. You get to enjoy him.
No, yeah, you kind of enjoy his buffoonery, perhaps, more than actually like him as a person. But
The best description I can say of the Count is he's a character that Malcolm McDowell would play in the 70s.
yes,
Really, that's what he is. He's like a proto Malcolm McDowell from the 70s character. This
he's a cad.
Yes. And his wife's very wise to his his things, all his little affairs and things, but she's up to her own ideas. The wife of the lead character, because she's so young, she's just like environment for everybody. Like, she's just completely inexperienced, and so is the young guy, the guy trying to be a priest, but he's just trying to find what his life's going to be, really.
Yeah, he's trying to find meaning.
Yeah, because he's a father who's cynical and offers nothing to him. So he really kind of needs somebody to connect to, ultimately.
Yeah, I should say there's a couple of appearances by actresses that would become major players in Bergman cinema. Bibi Andersson, who at the time was only 19, kind of has a very small role, and Harriet Andersson has a wonderful, zesty role as Petra the maid.
Oh yeah, I mean, her and the other guy, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They just have tons of fun in the film. They're really enjoying themselves.
But I love the fact that them as the servants, they actually get the kind of profound statements near the end of the film, and it's not the upper classes who are behaving like buffoons most of the time.
Yeah,
I just love that.
Yeah, they're the kind of working classes who are just trying to enjoy their lives rather than having these weird pretensions. But they're getting closer to what's actually real about their lives than the people, the self-indulgent upper classes who are just getting more and more insane and stupider by the second.
Yeah. I mean, because I'll say, when I saw this like years ago, it wasn't necessarily my favourite, but watching it again, I mean, it's practically flawless.
Yeah.
So even though it's not necessarily, one of my favourite Bergmans, it's just so well done.
Yeah, it's a really well-made film. I think the actresses especially get a lot to play, like, more than they're allowed to play in most like modern films. Like they're the ones who control most of the film. Ultimately, they're the ones who are in control of the story, rather than
because I mean, really, has there been a better director and writer of women than Bergman? I mean, he just creates brilliant parts for women. Yeah,
like he plays them as humans rather than these figures that a lot of directors tend to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, the women in this are really good. I mean, they kind of steal the show, really, because they're the ones who are more dynamic and...
Yeah.
Although the CAD guy is loads of fun.
Yes.
But it's kind of weird watching it, because I told a friend yesterday about it, watching it again, is like, you can't have to get used to Bergman's pacing, because he's a certain pace, and it's actually quite fast pace, but he takes his time. Like, he gets to his points. So you have to kind of adjust a little bit to the pace of Bergman. I'm kind of used to it now after 2 films, but it does take a while if you're used to modern pacing to get into the way he paces his films.
Yes.
It's not even the same as the way like a screwball comedy's paced. Because it's European, there's a different feel to it that's...
Yeah, I mean, the dialogue is zippy and barbed, but it's still set in a kind of more set frame.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense, but...
Yeah, it's framed in a kind of... a more in the real world than something like 20th century or something like that would be.
Yeah, because I mean, most screwball comedies, the camera kind of moves, not necessarily as fast as the dialogue, but the camera does tend to move and follow characters around.
Yeah.
Whereas Bergman generally kind of lets it sit.
Yes. And it affects the pacing of it in interesting ways. But not in a bad way, it's just a different take on that type of film.
Yeah.
And, but it really works. It's just, it feels very unusual for a Bergman film to be this cheerful ultimately about things, and to let
Yes.
people get away with bad behaviour and still come out fine. And it's like, other grown-ups, they'll get over it.
Yeah.
You know.
It is a very kind of positive and almost life-affirming film.
I know, because I mean, the son and the wife, young wife, in a later Bergman film, their fates would probably be a lot darker.
Yes.
But in this one, now they're allowed to have some happiness. And
Yeah, it's 1955.
yes, it's just after the war. They want to have something fun. Yeah, I mean, it's a very enjoyable film. It's very, just the joy of the film was really interesting. It's hard to describe because it is a joyful film. Even the little dialogue scenes are cynical. It's grown-ups enjoying teasing each other and playing with each other like grown-ups rather than acting like children the way a lot of people do in films nowadays. This is just grown-ups knowing how far they can go with the other person, teasing them and expecting some comeback.
Yeah, I mean, the script is just so well written, it pretty much could be done again today because the script is just so on point.
Yeah, but they'd probably remake it badly today. It's probably best not to touch it. Do not touch this one.
Oh.
It's best to just be inspired by it rather than trying to remake it.
The script is like so modern.
Yes.
As well for a film made in 1955. Obviously not necessarily set in 1955.
Well, another thing is, I don't even think it's modern. I think it's just like, it's realistic about the world. And those films always feel modern. It's the films that are pushing an ideology that's like currently going on in society. It always date badly. If you actually have a film that's got a realistic take on people and has some sympathy for people but isn't sentimental, that'll always feel modern and fresh because that's the way life is.
Yeah.
Really. So, Berg, anything else to say about this film?
No, I would just highly recommend it. It's certainly one of his best, even though, again, like I say, it's perhaps not one of my favourites, but it is literally almost flawless.
Yeah.
Watching it again, it's just so well done.
Yeah. It's kind of hard because you kind of want to get into Wild Strawberries because that's the one with all the meat. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. But that's the thing, even with Bergman, as we say, with a light comedy, there's still quite a lot to digest in it.
Yeah. Okay, but before we go into Wild Strawberries, I forgot to say something but what Summer Night I really liked was the idea of the summer night and the idea of that this is like a tradition because in the countryside, it's in Sweden, it's mostly winter, so the summer is very short, so people are passionate for small parts of the year, and you have to sort of force everything into that small part of the year, and that comes across really well in this film. It's like this is their chance at some romance and some intimacy in a very harsh environment, and the whole idea of this kind of almost paganistic element of the summer night that was this kind of slightly magical feeling to it without being overdone.
And also one of the servants talks about the 3 smiles of the summer night, and Bergman even manages to crowbar a Grim Reaper into the clock, which
you gotta love that. That's dedication.
You can't get away from it.
No, but yeah, that was just something I realised when we hadn't covered. I was like, I need to mention that because that was one of the things that jumped out at me when I was watching it. Okay, now on to Wild Strawberries. So will I start saying what it's about?
Yes.
So Wild Strawberries is about this old doctor who's getting it's like he's getting an honour in this town, which is a little bit away from where he lives, where his son lives. So he's lived a long life. He's been a doctor, a country doctor. And he's been a doctor in a bigger town. So he has to travel by plane to this event. He changes his mind at the last minute after he's had a dream and he decides to drive there instead. And as he's driving, he starts to reminisce about his life and events that happened in his life. He's also getting driven there by his daughter-in-law, and she and her husband, who's his son, are having some marital difficulties, and what's going on there comes out over the course of the film. So you're basically two different lives illustrated. One a lot, which was his memories, and hers, which were brought up on in dialogue. Is that a fair assessment?
Yep. That's a good synopsis. That's a good starting point.
Yeah. Well, I only saw it like 2 days ago, so I shouldn't really mess this one up. Because that's why I wanted you to do smells, because I realised that I saw this last week. I'm not sure I could do the synopsis very well for that one.
Yeah, I mean, Wild Strawberries was made in 1957, the same year as they made The Seventh Seal. Go think about that.
I actually like this one better than Seventh Seal, to be honest.
Oh yeah, this is arguably one of my... Well, it might be actually be my favourite Bergman. It's probably the one that I've watched the most. Again, there is part of that about summer and memories of summer, because again, it's so short, like you were saying about the previous film. Bergman did say it's pretty much about him and his relationship with his parents. He was 37 when he made this. He said all the nightmares in the film were actual his nightmares. The fact that the character is called Isaac Borg, which is the same initials as Ingmar Bergman.
Yeah.
And in Swedish translation, Isaac Borg pretty much means ice fortress, apparently.
Right.
It's just a stunning, essentially road movie, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Again,
Even as teenagers.
Yeah. Again, it's about the disconnect between who you think you are and the image you have in other people's eyes.
Yes.
It's about regret. It's about the choices that you make in life. And I do find it gets more and more resonant and moving as the older you get.
Yeah, as you've made all your mistakes in
Yes.
life.
Maybe that's just me, I don't know.
Yeah, everyone makes mistakes in life. It's just that's life. Yeah, I saw this one years and years ago. I think I was a teenager, so I thought it was a good film, but I didn't get it though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I always thought it's a good film, but it didn't resonate with me at all. But, or not at all, but it didn't resonate with me the way it did when I watched it again, like a few days ago. And one of the things is you can see all these themes, but it's the way it's done though, because it's a very quiet film that kind of floats into fantasy every so often, or memory every so often.
Yeah.
And the way it's done is basically naturalistic, but the dream sequences feel like dreams. They don't feel like the way in a lot of films the dream sequences don't just feel like a sequence. They're not really.
Yeah.
They don't have the dream logic. In the dream logic, things happen that don't make sense, but kind of make emotional sense, and that's what this film gets. It's like,
yeah, I mean, the first dream is just stunning. Obviously, it's a nod to German silent cinema that Bergman was a huge fan of, but it's a stunning sequence.
Yeah, and it's very overlit, so it makes you think, what's going on here? This feels very kind of blown out, but it works really nicely, and it's kind of a nightmare image of him feeling close to death, and without actually saying it in really blatant ways. It's just more of a feeling it's given.
Yeah, I mean, I have to start with Victor Stonstrom, the actor, the old previous director who directed such films as Phantom Carriage, which I saw last year, and absolutely recommend that to everybody because it's amazing. He had kind of been forgotten about for a while, and then Bergman brought him back, and he just gives an amazing performance. He just gives little looks and whatever, and you know what he's thinking. It's just a phenomenal performance by an elderly statesman.
Yeah, but he's also playing almost like two characters at the same time, because he's playing the version of himself he thinks he is.
Yeah.
And the other version that's maybe colder that he doesn't really want to acknowledge. And it's not like it's not like a process of him just becoming awful or anything. It's just something his life's happened to him, and if some of his character flaws have come out in ways that he doesn't really recognise.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's a bad person, it's just more like he doesn't recognise his flaws as well as he should.
Yeah, because it's not anything trite like a Hollywood film that starts with a grumpy old man and then at the end, it's not like that. This is Bergman.
Yeah. it's just like almost
It's more subtle than that.
it's more like a reckoning of your flaws and what life's done to you, rather than it's like an understanding of where you actually are in life, rather than I will be better, a better man now. It's like, no, he's just trying to find himself, what he actually is, who he actually is, and how he's kind of fallen from his ideals, but it's done subtly, and it's also the case of, it shows that a marriage can go bad even if some of the participants have decency to them. It's just the interaction of people sometimes that cause the problem.
Yeah. I mean, the rest of the cast, Bibi Andersson again plays two roles. Max von Sydow turns up. Gunnar Bjornsson plays his son, and my favourite Bergman actress, Ingrid Thulin, plays his daughter-in-law.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I still think she's somehow underrated in Bergman cinema, but she's always been my favourite of his actresses.
Yeah, because she has to toe the line a lot and keep it going while he does his acting. She has to kind of focus the story almost, because she's the kind of straight person in the story. Which means
she gets a flashback too, which is fantastic.
I know, but you know what I mean. For most of the movie, she's holding back, and she's driving a lot of it by holding back and not saying things. But then slowly it comes out though what's actually going on. But I mean, it's complicated. I mean, you see in flashbacks, he flashes back to things he was never at. So he's probably basing his memories of what people told him about it, and what he knows about the people involved. And it's also partly fantasy of what's things he probably missed that he's heard about later on. So it's not even the flashbacks. It's not specifically historical. It's what he feels, really. Kind of like Solaris.
Yeah.
The idea of your view of people is limited by your view of them, but by your personality. Because you can see the life in one way, but everyone else is seeing it in a different way, so you can't really progress in that way. And again,
it's a nice bit of just as an old man going into his past, which has been ripped off countless times.
One thing I noticed,
it's just simply done, but it's effective.
One thing I noticed had taken the same approach. Some film we both like is Dead Zone, which is the same idea of Christopher Walken's visions. He's walking through them.
Yes.
Sort of like this film. It's not like a flashy thing. It's just him walking through them and seeing what's going on. And I'm thinking that must have come from this. That approach must have come from here.
Yeah, I mean, Woody Allen's used it 100 times.
Yeah, Woody Allen just rips off Bergman so much.
Yes, and Fellini.
I know. I mean, it's like I'm not a Woody Allen fan. Ronan is, I'm not, so it's a divergence there.
Yes. Just Bergman's quite influential.
What?
Bergman's quite influential. It's almost as if he's quite good.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting though, because you hear about people talking about him and how kind of almost flighty he was as a young man, how kind of in his head he was, like almost like because he was a scientist guy, he was kind of almost like sensitive and leave him alone to do his science stuff. And then we see him as an older man, he's much more serious and to the point. It's almost he's lost the sense of wonder really by life.
Yes.
But he hasn't recognised that, and it's sort of like he's kind of trying to get back to what he was a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like recognising where you've kind of gone, but not in a kind of dumb way. It's more like this is where I veered off slightly, and where I became like more like my parents than I thought I was, type of thing. So I
mean, in a typical road movie, characters come and go, and this film's no different, but it doesn't really seem forced. So obviously he's driving with Ingrid Thulin, and then Bibi Andersson turns up with two of her suitors' boyfriends. One of which is going to be a minister, and the other one's more scientific.
Yeah. And they fight a big resistance of gods. As if it's WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have a bickering couple who they get into
Yeah,
a car accident with.
yeah, and they're wonderfully awful.
Yes.
They're just the worst couple to ever be stuck with, and it's kind of funny to watch everyone getting more and more uncomfortable around them.
Yes.
Because I mean, he even admits later on that they reminded him of his marriage. It's like, okay, that's why you're so damaged.
Yes.
This is these are like two people who should not be together,
Yeah.
like at all. They prey on each other as if they're like parasites on each other's emotions, and it's wonderful, but you never want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, they're just horrible people.
And then they just stop for gas, and that's Max von Sydow, and of course he
It's fun
not worships him, but he holds him in such high regard.
because he was a good doctor to everybody, and so you see the good side of him. The people respect the fact he was a good doctor and he cared. See, it's not unbalanced to one or the other side. It's like his good side, his bad side.
And I just love the way that he says, because we all remember what you did, and that's just left.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter. It's just as long as we know that he's held in such high regard.
yeah. It's funny seeing von Sydow as a working class guy.
Yeah.
I always think of him as a guy who's an authority figure. It's funny seeing him just being a guy who works in the garage who fights with his wife and things. It seems weird.
Yeah. But again, that's just a beautiful little scene, but it says so much.
Yeah.
Without making it 15 minutes long.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, this film's only 90 minutes long. It's really amazing how much they get into.
Yeah, I mean, that's another great thing with Bergman. His films are very economical.
Yeah.
And again, not huge cast members in many of his films, but just such economy in the script.
Yeah, he knows. He feeling he goes through the script and cuts out the garbage after he's done the script. He's like, that's boring, that's boring, that's boring.
He's not quite to the Bresson level of economy, but
yeah, few are.
Nobody is.
Yeah. But I mean, he's pretty brutal to scripts to make sure he gets the point and the flowing better. I mean, that's the big thing with this film, is that it feels like the direction feels more confident in this one than it did in Smiles. Smiles felt a confident film. This one feels he's much more control of the mood. It feels much more like his film. Like, he's less influenced by other people. He knows what he wants to do. He knows where he wants his camera set up, why it's set up there.
Well, I guess this one's more personal as well.
Yeah, and it's
Smiles.
But also, films can be personal and then be a mess.
Yeah.
But this one, he knows how to pull back and tell the story and do it so the shots mean things, like floating in towards a cabin, and then it, even before it dissolves into the past, you can feel it dissolving into the past before it even starts doing it by the way he shoots it. And things like that are just craftsmanship things that you can't be taught. You just have to know that's part of storytelling.
Yeah, his use of nature has always been fairly important. Use of water and clouds and trees.
Yep.
And the importance of nature.
Yeah. He also seems to like the characters, even the flawed ones. He seems to enjoy putting them in scenes and watching them interact with each other, and because you get all these characters, because you've got the young group of characters who are almost like the characters of youth. Then you've got the slightly older characters, which is his daughter-in-law, when they have marital troubles, but it hasn't gotten toxic yet. Then you've got the couple they pick up, which are in a toxic as hell marriage.
Yes.
Then you've got his mother, who's lived through it all, and who's all her family have died now.
Yeah.
And that's the end of life, basically. And you've got him.
Yeah, I was just going to say the scene with his mother is just quite wonderful.
Yeah.
The look in Ingrid Thillen's face.
That's pretty brutal. She's like, Jesus Christ, what's going on here? Yes.
Do you want to stay for a coffee? No, we're all right. We've got to go.
Yeah. It is at all stages of life. And one thing this film does really well is the passage of time. Like, you can sense that you see characters when they're young, and then the next scene you're told they're all dead.
Yeah.
Like, everyone you've just interacted with and seen, they're all dead. They've all died slowly. Maybe one or two have survived, but most of them are dead. and the grandchildren never visit her. And
Yeah.
what a shock. Yeah, they're all waiting for her to die. What a shock.
Yes.
And it's a bitterness you can understand because she feels she was left alone by herself. But it's kind of moving idea of how life goes on, how people die over time, and how he lost the person he really wanted to a cad who was his brother. Basically, he was a
Yeah.
good for nothing. Even his mother says that he was good for nothing. And it's like, so you see the tragedy of why his life might have gone astray, but you also see the idea that he was so aloof in some ways that no matter who he married, that might have happened anyway. His marriage might have happened badly for him because in a sense he never engaged with people as well as he should have, like on a personal level. So that was something that was always going to do him in eventually.
Yes. Even though I can highly recommend it.
What? And not interact with people.
Yes, that's why I'm Solitary Ronin.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's 92 minutes or something like that, but it's just so economical. You just want to know what happens. It's just such a great film.
yeah, you also find out his son is so damaged by his marriage. He doesn't want to have kids because he was so damaged by it, and he's still recovering from all that. And it's like, so you see the effects of a bad marriage on somebody. You also see the effects of a good upbringing on him, because even though he had all these problems, he's still a very civilized person. He's a bit withdrawn from the world, but he's still civilized. So he had a good upbringing, so that affected him. His son had a terrible upbringing, and that affected him. Even though his son's trying his best to be a civilized person.
Yes.
So it's quite moving, the idea of how life can affect people and how they try and struggle on, and how it's complicated. It's not just one thing, one simplistic answer.
No. Bergman never had or never gives simplistic answers.
Yeah, so even all the other characters, you can make a film about them quite easily.
Yeah.
Because they're all complicated. And the most complicated one is the daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
And how she's dealing with the after effects of the damage he did to his son based from that marriage, because she wants a family and the son doesn't, and it's causing real damage to them. And the son's almost like, if she wasn't around, he'd kill himself. And that's dark. That's really dark.
Yes.
So it's like, that marriage must have been toxic.
Yeah, this isn't the light comedy.
Yeah, because it builds up slowly to the darkness, and then it just delivers it very subtle ways. It's not like yelling at you. It's almost just subtle comments that weigh a lot down as you go through the film, because they build and build to things. So when someone says something, it's almost a throwaway thing, but it's really important.
Yeah, but like all great art, it's true. It's the truth. So
yeah, it's they don't really have. It's a lot of difficult situations and a lot of even within what is a framework could be very sentimental. It could be a horribly sentimental film.
Yeah, the way Hollywood does grumpy old man realises the point of life, and
Yeah,
that kind of nonsense.
yeah. Usually starring Morgan Freeman,
Yes, or Jack Nicholson,
or both of them.
or both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, or Michael Caine if they need a foreigner.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of that kind of cliche. And this one just doesn't. There's no time for that. It's like, no, your present is due to your past, and all the things you've done in your past, and all the interactions you've had. It's complicated, and there's some harsh truths you have to deal with. And it's almost like a lot of the harsh truths are stuff he finds in his mind, like he's always been there, but he's never really faced up to them. It's not like he's oblivious to them. It's just that stuff he hasn't faced, really. They come up to him in his dreams. The way stuff you want to avoid hits you in your dreams sometimes. In real life.
Yeah. Because like Bergman said, all the dreams were ones that he had, because he had the ability to remember his dreams.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, it's probably not, but
I mean, I can remember some dreams in my life, but not all of them. Like, I can remember
Oh,
the feeling of them sometimes, and sometimes I remember specific ones. Like, usually the ones I remember are the ones I repeat. I can remember, you build up over time, you build up, you remember them because they're repeated, or the general situation's repeated.
yeah.
But most of the other ones I don't remember. Just like, I'm sure it's quite good to not remember certain dreams. It's like,
Yes.
I'm sure it'd be horrifying.
I mean, obviously, we haven't really scratched the surface. 'Cause it's just there's images in the film that will probably stay with you for a while or resonate with you. The fact that in the first dream there's a clock with no hands, and then his mother gives him a watch that doesn't have any hands.
Yes.
There's just such powerful imagery in the film.
Yeah, it was also a dream where he's accused of being incompetent, and always
Yes.
possibly knows are watching him at the same time, and that feels very much like a dream. Like, it's a dream
Yeah.
anyone would have. Like, because it's not it's the people you know around you that's accusing you, not anyone else. But it's really
Yeah.
you. It's really
And
you
the-
accusing you.
The Hippocratic Oath written in the blackboard, and you can't understand what it is and what does it mean. It's just
Yeah, it's really funny, and
it's one of those going to school without your trousers on.
Yeah, it's really funny, but it's really dark at the same time. It's
Yeah.
him blaming himself for stuff. It's like his own head. He can't escape his own head.
Yeah, and he says, "I've got a heart condition. You have to take that into consideration." And the guy just goes, "That's not in your file."
Yeah.
I mean, Bergman does have some black humour in some of these.
Yeah, I
films.
know. I mean, this one's actually pretty funny. Some of the stuff they say, like some of the reactions the lead character has, is reported back to him because he thinks he said nice thing. Then they tell him what he actually said, and it was like, "Oh, that's not so good," type of thing.
Yeah, of course, we haven't even mentioned the scene where he essentially watches his wife's infidelity,
I know,
which is just beautiful.
but really disturbing.
It's like staged in the middle of the woods, and it's just stunning.
Yeah, and it's darkly funny as well.
Yeah,
But in a way that's not funny, but it's just something about it that's quite funny. It's also kind of tragic because he's seen the failure of his life, and the fact that he never reacted to that ever
yeah,
was one of the problems. Like, she was obviously doing it to get a reaction out of him, and
yeah,
he couldn't offer it, and it was like, it goes to the heart of his character, why he was a problem character. He's like, he couldn't react to
Yeah.
stuff, and it's like, and that stuff was brought up early on in his life, that people were saying he's too in his head, and it's like, so you see that come toward the end where he's now pretty much, the far end of his life, he's pretty much become almost no nonsense.
yeah,
But he still hasn't dealt with the wounds of his life.
yeah.
He's found clever ways to avoid it, but he hasn't actually dealt with it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that if you're new to Bergman, these two films are probably amongst his most accessible. Would you kind of agree with that? And they're a good place to start.
Yeah, they're a lot easier to deal with than some of the later films. Because they got darker as we got older.
Yes.
But Wild Strawberries especially, I think, is a really strong film. That's really something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we have to scratch the surface of the film here. We've only got so much time in this podcast. And also you have to see it for yourself, really. It's a film to really sit back and enjoy. It's only 90 minutes, so it's not going to take up much of your time, but you're going to have an amazing experience watching it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of the films that deserves to be called a masterpiece. I mean, I know that word gets bandied about a bit too much, but Wild Strawberries for me is a stone cold.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful. It's definitely a masterpiece. It really is a masterpiece. It's one of those strong films that work on so many levels. It just all comes together.
Yeah.
In a way, I think no matter how good a director is, you're only going to get 4 or 5 films that come together that well.
Yeah.
There's something with the story and the way you're telling it. Just every so often you'll get a film that just everything's working in. It's no matter how talented you are, you can only do that every so often. You can't do it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's one of his great everything came together films.
Yeah.
So after 2 Bergman films, we're going to cover something else, something that we're challenged to cover because I was being a bit naughty to other podcasters. It's the best way to put it.
It's certainly something else.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was I had been helping the Folders and Ashes, the podcast, which we recommend. I had been feeding SGS films some suggestions for Isaac to watch, just because they were bad films. I thought I'd torture them. So eventually, I get challenged, and so Ronan get challenged as well because he was in the same podcast as me, basically.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciated.
Hey, you got to see The Happening.
I did, and thank goodness for that.
Yeah, so there's a good outcome to it.
Yes.
But yeah, basically this is all my fault. I was being bad, and
It's the best £1.52 I've ever spent.
So am I right? Have you never seen a Shyamalan film apart from this one?
I had seen Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, but
Right.
kind of tuned out after that.
All right, yep. That's to play a wise move. I've seen I think all of his films apart from one. One of the ones, the Visiting Hours or something, the one he made before Split. Can't remember the name of that one.
Yeah.
But I've seen all the other ones through thick and thin. Basically, the first two films are Sixth Sense and Unbreakable are good, fun little, spine chillers. That's what they are. They're like Twilight Zone episodes expanded. They're enjoyable for what they are. I liked Split and Glass, the recent ones. And then we get into the crap, because there's a lot of crap. There's some films they made that are enjoyably weird, like The Happening and The Village. There are some films he made that are just so terrible, but they're still enjoyable in a weird way, which is The Last Airbender, which is absolutely awful in every way, based on a terrific show, but the film's awful. You can go see my video on it. I've done a video on this one.
Yes.
Then there's the really unwatchable ones like After Earth and Lady in the Water, which are such train wrecks. You're amazed you get another film to make after these ones.
Did he direct After Earth?
Yep.
Bloody hell.
That's a shocker of a film. That's just it's hard to sit through and go, what happened? What the hell was this? It's a real shocker. It's a terrible film, not in a good way, a terrible film in a bad way. Or like, this is shocking how this film even get made. This is but this one's The Happy. This is one of the good bad films. This is one of his enjoyable bad films.
It's one of those head scratching films because it's not a badly made film. There's some films that are just badly made. It's not a badly made film. It's just completely bizarre.
It's utterly bonkers in every possible way. It explains things you should never explain in a film. Is one of the big things I've got. There's so much explanation of what's going on, of stuff that should just be atmosphere.
Because the thing is, there's some very nice kind of scenes when the guys are walking off the building site roof. I thought that was beautiful in some way.
Yeah,
and also when the gardeners are hanging from trees. That's really quite effective.
All they had to do is not explain anything.
Yeah.
Have it happen and then have it stop and then basically never explain it. Just have them react to it and try to work it out. And you'd have a much creepier film.
It's almost as if they were all playing a joke in Mark Wahlberg or something. He just looks completely lost. I think I did a rough count and he asks like 58 questions during the film. Yeah. He's just like, what? Why? Why are you doing that? What's going on? Why are you doing that? What? Why? It's just like, what?
And yeah, it's a very odd performance, but it's kind of like the performance he did in Transformer movies, where it's so bizarre and weird and dumb that I really enjoy it because it's so odd a performance. It's just
and it's still not as odd as Zooey Deschanel's performance, which is just completely bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, what the hell happened there?
So I mean,
she's a good actress. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the making of, which didn't really give too much away, but it's just this. Shyamalan almost has like a cult of people that work with him and think he's amazing, and it's just like weird.
Yeah, it's like they have line readings and logical things they do that don't make any sense, but they play them in almost a zombie-like fashion.
Yeah.
And it's just weird.
And then there's complete changes in tone.
Yeah.
Like the woman that they meet in the middle of the country and they're having dinner and she's talking very nicely and then like she slaps the kid for like trying to get a biscuit.
I know.
And then everybody just goes back to being really quiet and odd. It's just bizarre.
And there's also that guy who keeps the plants in his
Yes. And then starts talking about, do you like hot dogs?
Yeah.
Hot dogs are really good. It's just like, what?
It's wonderful. It's just bizarre. Can you now see why I enjoy watching this film?
Yeah, it's not a terrible film. You know, it's not a badly made film. It's just bizarre.
They've actually got professionals working on it. People who can set up a shot. Yeah. Like the guy who shot it did Silence of the Lambs and all the Jonathan Demme films. He knows how to shoot stuff. Like the casting people are all professionals. Everyone's professional, but they've got this really weird script that all it had to be was atmospheric. All you had to do was do the tourney thing and not explain anything. Just have it be atmosphere, and you'd have a winner.
I think Shyamalan must have went, I'm going to write this bizarre script, and there's no way the studios will go for it. And then they went for it, and he's just like, what? Did you not read it?
No, I think he didn't get it. I think he thought he was writing a masterpiece. I think he never... Because this was the height of his egotism.
Yeah.
When he was making these weird films, he thought he was a genius. And this is the film that brought him down pretty badly, because everyone laughed at it. And it's like...
Yeah, because again, in the behind the scenes, people are like talking with like grins in their faces about him. And like, oh, he's amazing. It's amazing. It's just like, he's hypnotised everybody.
Well, that would explain the acting.
Yeah.
It's almost like they did the Werner Herzog thing of hypnotising people for the film. But
that would be a good explanation.
Yeah, but it's really odd though. It's a really strange... It's just that there's so much dialogue you don't need in a film. And people make decisions like John Leguizamo's in it. And he's weird as well. He's almost like you've drained him of any life.
Because he pretty much gives his daughter
away.
To Deschanel and
who's
Wahlberg, and then
they're weird.
When she goes for it, he grabs her hand and goes, "Don't take it if you don't mean it." It's just like, what?
It's also he does that to go and find his wife, and his wife's. It's like you should really have your daughter, not your wife, in that situation.
Yeah. And the scene where they kind of go in and they go into a model home.
Yeah.
And everything's plastic. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but they take it so seriously, and it's weird. And I bet they meet up with those two teenagers, and they end up getting shot in this other house, the Paranoid. That should have been a scary scene, but it's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Because it's just weird. The whole film is odd.
I don't think I've ever seen a film like it, so in some way it's unique.
It is unique, it's definitely
because the tone is just bizarre. Bizarre, I think, is the word. Again, it's not a terrible film, it's just bizarre.
Yeah. That's the best kind of films, the ones that you try to work out what the hell they were doing.
It's jaw-droppingly inept.
Yeah, but it's there was a comment, there's a review about Bonfire of Vanities, right? And they said in the review, said you have to be a genius to make a film this bad, and the idea was no hack would ever go this bad. Only a person with a lot of confidence in their abilities would go this wrong. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing in this film, where someone who had confidence in abilities went so far wrong and no one stopped him and created this mess.
Because again, it just looks as though he was surrounded by yes people who just thought he was amazing.
Yeah. And it's like no one stopped to say, look, this is not a good idea what you're doing. This doesn't work. This is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, why are they talking like that? Why is Mark Wahlberg talking to a plastic plant?
Yeah, because the whole premise is people just suddenly want to kill themselves. It's not people suddenly talk weird. That's not anything to do with what's going on. It's just completely...
But they're talking weird before the start, starts.
Exactly. So it's nothing to do with the actual happening.
Yeah. If they started talking weird during when they get affected, that makes sense. That'd be creepy.
Yeah.
But if they talk weird before that,
the whole
idea of it's a story about marriage within this circumstance, it's not a marriage you understand at all. It's just these two weird people and
Yeah.
who can't communicate at all.
It's the fact that she's distraught and confesses that she had dessert with somebody at work.
It's
And
like,
then he goes into this, oh, I was once in a pharmacy and there was a really attractive pharmacist and I almost spent $6 in a cough bottle. It's like, what?
yeah, I know. That's one of the highlights of the film. It's
It's
such
like, what is that about?
it's and the way he says that thing. It's so.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's a 2-year-old talking his first
And then she
words.
went, you're kidding me? And he went, yeah. It's just like,
Yeah, and it's him trying to act as if he's a teacher, and he looks
Yeah.
thicker than the students. I mean,
yeah, he just spends the whole film looking confused and asking questions.
I know, and this thing is, casting Mark Wahlberg as someone with intellectual abilities is not a good idea.
And when they're standing in a field, all shouting at him to do something, and he's just like, wait a
Wait,
second,
I'm
wait a
thinking-
second, give me a minute, wait a second. And that seems to go on for like 10 minutes.
It's like they've all been dead by the time he thought of something.
Oh,
Like, you just everyone else would just leave him. Yeah, obvious. It's a bit. You'd think that and think, oh, he's gone. That's it.
Yeah.
He's been affected. That's it. Bye.
he's affected by a completely different happening.
Yeah. His brain's rotting slowly but surely. It's, oh God, it's so weird. It's wonderful. It's
Yeah, to be honest, I'm glad I have it in my collection.
yeah.
It's just, and hopefully I'll show it to some people because it's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I love films like this. The films that just go completely wrong, but it's made by talented people who have found themselves in a
Yeah.
bad situation. It's always funnier because it's always weirder because it's like they have talent, but it's just all going to shit. And this film,
Yeah, but like I say, it's not a train wreck. It's just
it is a train.
bizarre.
It's a train wreck of a certain
It's a
kind.
different kind. Yes, a different kind of train wreck.
Like you actually can see a good
It's
film.
a train. It's maybe a train that wrecked that was never actually on the rails to start with.
Yeah, and it has no wheels.
Yes.
It's just tumbling a little bit with the wind.
Yeah. It's strange film.
Yeah, and yeah, the thing is, it could have been a good film. The idea could have been creepy if they'd done it without half that dialogue.
Yeah, it's like I said,
Just-
there's a couple of really effective scenes.
Yeah, it's just if they did atmosphere, it could have been creepy. I mean, look at the Deer Court fire. It's a
Yeah.
weird premise, but they use atmosphere and then have people acting the way people would act, and that
Yeah.
sells it.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably work as a half-hour Twilight Show episode. Obviously, it'd be done better, but
A
the kind
a
of premise.
Twilight episode. You mean like the vampires?
Twilight Zone. Sorry,
You said Twilight, and I was like,
Did I?
oh,
I meant Twilight Zone episode.
yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah. Yeah, because we're suddenly going into another level of bad there.
yeah.
Uh,
There's a difference between bizarre and unwatchable.
yeah. But yeah, no, it could have been that, or it could have been a good film if they just cast it differently and rewritten the entire script and just kept the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because there was no point of how it ends, because it just suddenly stops and then it starts again. It's like,
Yeah.
there's no idea how to end this film.
And the classic, do you like hot dogs?
I know.
Then Zoe Deschanel says no, and then the woman's face. It's like, ah,
Yeah.
priceless.
You feel like asking people that now, just to say,
Yeah.
do you like hot dogs? And see if you get arrested.
Hot dogs are really good.
Yeah, it's like every actor is almost like they said it naturally, and he said, "No, that's the wrong way to say it. You have to say it like
Yeah.
this. You have to say it much more serious and."
Hopefully, in 10 years' time, there'll be an Arrow release of it, and the actors will actually tell the truth about the hypnosis. And
The weird, what the hell was going on there?
yes, you're talking far too normally. You need to talk in a completely different register.
Yeah, I think everyone there knows they were in a disaster, but it's such a fun disaster though. It's such a lovable, weird film. That
Yeah, it's.
It's so irresistible.
I think it's automatically his best film.
You should try The Village. The Village is weird as well. It's not as weird as this
Yeah, I've
one.
heard it's quite good, but maybe let down by the twist ending.
Yeah, the twist ending in that film is so dumb that it's wonderful. It kind of makes the film and destroys the film at the same time. The film would not be as wonderful as it is, if it didn't have that stupid ending.
Yeah.
But also it's what makes it so fun to watch though as well. So
One thing I should also say about The Happening, it does have a wonderful action sequence where a group of people are chased across a field by the wind.
I know.
It's so many shots of plants and bushes and trees in this film. It's almost like a nature documentary.
I know, but it's like if they'd actually built up the atmosphere well, it could have been creepy. But they didn't.
Yeah.
They did it as like. They Mark Wahlberg asking so many dumb questions there. Where like that time everyone's laughing at the wind, going, "Let's chase by the wind."
Yeah, because again, there's plenty of 50s B movies that are still effective, despite the fact they have a clunky premise or the special effects aren't any good.
Yeah, no. It's like if we do it right, you can make anything work. But this film just missed by a mile in a wonderful way. A way it's perfect. It's almost better than it would have been if it had been good.
Yeah, it misses every single target.
Yeah. That anyone would ever want to hit. But it's just wonderful. So thank you to the two lunatics, Folger and Ashes, for that.
Yes, that was a wonderful gift.
Yeah, we're I'm trying to think, should we suggest something to them now to get them back at them? Or, of course, I've already done Highlander 2 with them, I've already suggested that, maybe is that enough?
I think that's enough for the time being.
Yeah. We might think of someone else to challenge you later.
Yes.
Because, you know, and hopefully you suggest something back to us that's just as good as this.
I think that would be quite difficult,
I can think of a few.
considering The Happening is a unique, once-in-a-lifetime experience.
It's not that unique. It's just, there are some other ones like that. Trust me, I live for these kind of films. These films that go so wrong that it's like, whenever you hear a film go wrong, you're hoping it's something that's happening where it's just like that.
Yes.
And alas, most of them aren't, but every so often you get one that is.
Yeah.
So, that's us done today. We're hoping you enjoyed this. Two masterpieces and a masterpiece of a different kind.
Yes. Masterpiece of some kind.
It's something that was perfect in its wrongness that...
Yes.
I mean, it is wonderful. So, if you've seen any of the films, please comment and say what you thought. And if you have any suggestions that we can throw back at Folger and Ashes, please comment as well.
Yes.
You know,
you're doing a good service.
Yeah, these boys need to see more bad films. We're helping them. We're helping them emotional development. They need to experience it. We've been kind to them, actually. We've been kind.
Yes.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show, and we're back soon with another one.
Bye.
Bye.